for or against, but it is a part of China, and the Chinese have to decide. Why this hypocrisy and contradiction? I see Taiwan as part of China, period. We may disagree with there are some excesses, yes, express your view. But it must be in that context, it is one China. It's accepted by all.
欢迎来到胤蓝智库。当西方媒体精心预设的话语陷阱撞上毫无破绽的地缘政治逻辑，会发生什么？马来西亚总理安华近期接受半岛电视台的这场专访，为全球奉献了一场教科书级别的反向审判。在印太区域地缘结构剧烈震动的当下，西方正试图将阵营对抗的旧叙事强加于此。这场看似寻常的媒体专访，本质上是一场逼迫东盟国家选边站队的政治拷问。然而，安华凭借冷峻的现实主义底色，利落挑破了西方叙事的三大伪善面具，即主线、底线与双标结构。面对外媒以民意包装的台独叙事，安华一锤定音：台湾是中国的一部分。他反手将了西方一军。如果马来西亚有省份企图分裂，难道不该动用武力维护国家统一吗？这一反问直接将西方在主权问题上的驰名双标钉在了耻辱柱上。第二，祛魅中国威胁论。针对西方刻意炒作的南海紧张局势，安华将其精准地定为西方偏执执政。他直言，领土摩擦是地缘邻国的常态，绝不能将其异化所谓的霸权扩张。第三，担当战略耗材。面对为何不制衡中国的诱导式发问，安华抛出了全场最犀利的反击：为什么要制衡中国？为什么不制衡美国或印度？这句话彻底击碎了西方将东盟视为地缘政治杠杆的傲慢企图。当零和博弈的陈旧执念撞上亚洲大国的战略清醒，交锋现场究竟有多窒息？我们直接进入正片。
But coming back to our broader theme of the challenges of middle powers, of the global south holding big powers to account, in this region, China is the big power. But it appears to have divided Southeast Asian countries because each of you have individual deep trade ties with China. So you have a situation, sir, where some of your neighbors are saying they're fighting rising Chinese territorial aggression. But you say the Chinese threat is Western phobia. It's not a serious threat.
Well, it is Western phobia because if you talk to the West, the only issue they raise is South China Sea and they perceived Chinese aggression. I say from my experience, not only in Malaysia but also in ASEAN, the engagement continues. In fact, we have called for the inclusion of the Code of Conduct, which was not initially agreed upon, but now the Chinese have considered.
But you say Western phobia. Your own foreign ministry described Chinese aggression as a serious threat to Malaysia's sovereignty after China sent fighter jets over your waters in 2021.
Yes. That's all that we say. That's what happened.
But that doesn't sound like Western phobia. That sounds
no
that's
Western
your own
phobia
government.
Because they have been harping on this on a daily basis and in every meeting. And I'm saying, other than that, once we did object or protest, they stopped.
So you're saying that you found it as a one-off, but your own neighbors don't seem to agree. The Philippines defense minister said in May this year that China's expansionism is unabated. We are in for a long time struggle.
Well, I agree in the sense that Philippines is quite an exception because they continue to have issues, but they raise and always there is an engagement. This is not, you're not talking about Gaza or Ukraine. This is continued negotiations and engagement between these countries. The Philippines, because the claims, it's more contentious, yes, the area in question. And we have always called consistently for negotiations to take place. But it doesn't happen as is promoted by the Western media. I hope not Al Jazeera, but
no, I'm only citing your own. I'm not. These are not Western
but it's out of
sources.
context.
These are your own neighbors.
We have problems with all our neighbors. We have with Thailand. Why is it not an issue? We have problems, contentious claim with Singapore, with Brunei, with it's a maritime country.
Of course, you're right. All neighbors have differences. The difference with China is that China is the only one that literally claims all of the South China Sea as part of its territory.
But they're negotiating.
I know, but I'm saying it's that claim which sets it up as a basis for a
But
lot
there's
of
no
conflict.
aggression thus far.
Why is it then, sir, that it's not just the Philippines, it's Vietnam, it's Japan,
Yes,
it's
yes.
even Australia,
If-
it's India in another geography.
Even Malaysia, we do have issues. We engage. My point is no aggression, is no show of force or military or perceived attacks. So once a note was sent, they took off. They said, as long as it's not a withdrawal of their claim.
Okay.
So why do you make it as if it is a real aggressive and contentious and...
No, I'm not making it. I'm just citing your own foreign ministry.
Yeah, but
can I ask you this? That some would argue that Prime Minister Ibrahim is being somewhat soft on China because they're your largest trading partner.
I'm soft with all my neighbors, with China, with the United States. What do you do with Gaza? But at the same time, you do express views, either privately or publicly, on these issues. Like the South China Sea, we expressed. We were very...
So trade is not a factor. It's not because of the high volume of trade between you and China
No, we
that
have
you
high
downplay
volume
the
of-
Chinese threat.
We have high volume, highest with the United States. Number 1 is United States. Number 2 is Germany. Number 3 is China.
Would you say, though, coming back to my point about ASEAN, the idea of a group of small middle powers acting as a counterweight to China, that you see these divisions, you have a different view, your neighbors have
Why
a different view.
counterweight
Would you
against
say,
China?
let me finish the question.
Why not counterweight against America or India?
I'm asking only about the region at the moment. Would you say in that regard that ASEAN has been a failure? It's not been able to act as a successful counterweight.
It's not ideal. It has secured peace. It's not reached serious war. There was some skirmishes between Thailand and Cambodia being contained. It's an exception. It is an exception in any sub-regional groupings.
Right.
And it continues to function, and the engagement has been vibrant. I mean, a year, I presided with ASEAN last year, hundreds of meetings, ministers, heads of governments, officers, and we work together in every single field.
Okay. Let me ask you in the context of Chinese aggression of David Goliath about Taiwan. Much of the world recognizes Taiwan as part of China, so do you. But you're seen as someone who stands up for democracy, for people's aspirations. Does the will of the Taiwanese people not count? Because poll after poll shows they overwhelmingly do not want to be ruled by Beijing.
That's antecedent of history. If you accept Taiwan to be part of China,
Yes.
you can express your views for or against, but it is a part of China, and the Chinese have to decide. Why this hypocrisy and contradiction? I see Taiwan as part of China, period. We may disagree with there are some excesses, yes, express your view. But it must be in that context, it is one China. It's accepted by all.
You don't see the complexity there with Taiwan. You're someone who's very, very much a committed Democrat.
Yes.
When you see a population there, a small island, of people who do not want, largely at least, to be governed by an authoritarian state, they prefer their democratic setup. Don't you feel somewhere, officially you might say that they're part of China, but don't you feel, as a leader, as a Democrat, some empathy for that
No,
sentiment?
of course.
And
I do express empathy in many other issues. Since you're not asking it, I mean, so many other areas, empathy. There are, issues, religious issues, regional issues, tribal issues in all these countries, even in Malaysia. Do you have views, conscience? Yeah, of course. But what you're suggesting is a way, a complicity or even condoning an attempt to break up a legitimate independent country. And I don't accept that. The only reason why these things crop up is because of antecedent history of a colonial past. And I am not in any way condoning colonialism.
no, it's not just a colonial framework, is it, Prime Minister? Because the Chinese themselves talk of reunification. If they are indeed one entity, then
Yeah.
you wouldn't need to reunify. But if, As the Chinese have said.
Because
that
the
if-
Seventh Fleet, my dear.
Okay.
That's why they talk about reunification.
Okay, you're bringing in the American angle. But China has said that if peaceful reunification doesn't work, they reserve the right to use force. If it comes to that, would you condemn that?
I always take Malaysia as an example. If one province decide to break away, do we use force? I think I will protect the sanctity and unity of the nation.
So you would use force?
Yes. Because otherwise to be fragmented. What are you suggesting? I mean, to me,
I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just asking questions, which is my job as a journalist.
Yeah.
There are, as you know, there have been movements for independence.
But to me, when it comes to China, it's always this, I should say, not ambivalence. Ambivalence is a light word.
Okay.
But it's hypocrisy. Because you don't talk about, many countries in Europe breaking up, or within the United States, or within Africa, or even within other regions. But
All
you
of that
focus
is-
only on China.
Okay, let me come back to the original question about middle powers acting as a check against big powers.
欢迎回到解说现场。从智库视角来看，这绝不仅仅是一场充满火药味的媒体交锋，它更是全球南方国家对西方话语霸权的一次系统性反击。对话中，西方媒体试图用抽象的民主自觉模型去解构非西方国家的实体主权完整，这本质上是新殖民主义的延续。安华的寸步不让，捍卫的正是威斯特伐利亚体系的几层铁律，国家主权绝不可侵犯。更重要的是，安华彻底看透了外部势力印太战略的冷酷底牌，在亚洲制造分裂，应亚洲人消耗亚洲人。他强调持续接触，拒绝盲从，有力驳斥了西方预设的经济绑架论。这清醒地表明东盟的战略竞力基于区域整体利益的理性考量，绝不甘当旧势力的政治炮灰。历史的叙事权正在发生不可逆转的转移。这场对话向全世界昭示了一个现实：亚洲的纪元议程已不再有西方媒体的麦克风来单向射镜。在这个多极化加速演进的时代，打破西方道德光环的迷信，用现实主义冷峻的目光审视大国的博弈，是我们必须具备的几层清醒。当越来越多的国家敢于直视并戳破西方的双标陷阱，这种纪元觉醒还要多久才能彻底重塑全球的话语格局？欢迎在评论区留下你深刻的洞见，点赞订阅，这里是胤蓝智库，我们下期见。